Welcome back to Peachy's place. My name's Peachy and this is my place. Afternoon ladies and gents, and welcome back to another episode of my road safety series. This is going to be part 3 now. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the relationship between rider and pillion, and riding safe with your pillion's interests in mind. So joining me today as my guest subject, my guest star for the day, the delectable Mrs Peachy. Yeah, say hi, honey. So this is what we're going to be doing now. There's kind of a checklist that you always want to go through when you're looking at taking a pillion out on your bike. And what I'm going to do is, because as you can see here, where I have my bike parked, as I come out, there's a hill that goes down this way, then the hill goes that way, and the hill goes that way, which means getting on the back of the bike, I'm going to be unstable, and it's going to make it a very uncomfortable and awkward process for any pillion. So I'm going to move my bike first and get it on some flatter, more level ground, just to make it more comfortable, make me more stable on the bike, and make it more comfortable for my pillion to get on. So there's a slight decline in the hill here, but it flattens out sufficiently, and I'm flat-footed. That's the important thing. You want to be flat-footed. The bike wants to be stable. You want to be comfortable. Before she gets on, Mrs Peachy, when we're riding with the pillion on the back, what's the first thing we want to check? So what tyre pressure do I want to have on the back wheel when I'm taking a pillion?
42.
Thank you very much. She's so gonna slap me later. Right. Now, I generally inflate my rear tyre to 42. That's actually more than what the manufacturer recommends. I'll tell you where you can check that. On this particular bike, and on most bikes, you get that sticker there, and the area you want to be paying attention to is here, and it will tell you front wheel, back wheel, solo riding, and riding with a pillion. And here it tells you PSI, you want 36 pounds per square inch on the front and 42 on the back. For solo riding, 36 in the front, 36 on the back. Okay, so I've taken my reading. That's 37 pounds per square inch. It's gone down a fair bit because I haven't got the angled valves, and sticking this particular reader in is a bit of a hassle. 37 pounds per square inch, but that's come down from about 40, so I was about £2 down, so that's not too bad. Now, what I'd recommend, if you can do it, is get a foot pump and inflate your tyres. Thank you. And inflate your tyres before you actually leave. But because I park my bike on the road, I don't have the luxury of having somewhere to keep one. So what I do, and I know a lot of people are against them, but I use the tyre inflator down at the garage. While you're checking the tyres, have a quick go over them, make sure there's nothing sticking in them or nothing sticking out of them. So that's good. Okay, so tyres are good to go. flip my rear foot pegs down for Mrs Peachy. And the next thing I want to point out is that, as you'll notice, she's wearing a helmet, full face helmet, jacket and gloves at the very least. At the very least. I won't say more about jeans and whatnot and trousers and boots, because as you can see I'm not wearing them. But at the very least, jacket and gloves. And you want to make sure that any pillion you take is wearing proper safety gear, because at the end of the day you're the one who's responsible for their life. And this is why I'm doing this video. Amanda, if you want to hop on, hun, I'll slide that back for you. So it's, I've got these straps on the back of my seat which are there for my saddlebags. I just move them out of the way to make sure that she's comfortable, and with my feet on the ground and the brake on, so the bike's not going to roll anywhere, I'm going to tip it slightly so that Amanda can jump on, just to help her. Okay? Right, so communicate with your pillion, make sure that they're comfortable before you set off. Also notice that she came on from the left hand side. In this case I've got a rather large exhaust sticking out the right, and getting on that side, especially when the exhaust is hot, can be very uncomfortable. So that's why she came on from the left hand side. Right, make sure that I'm happy, my pillion's happy. You alright? You good to go? Okay, if you need me to slow down, or if you have any problems, if you're uncomfortable, just tap me on the shoulder, okay? You know where the grab rail is, it's behind you. If you want, you can hold around my waist as well. Of course, she's laughing now because I don't need to tell her this, but for the purposes of the video and the people who don't know these things, I think it's important to display. So you need to communicate with your pillion. You need to make sure that she knows what you're doing, and you need to know that she knows what she's doing as a pillion. Okay, because she has certain responsibilities as well. That's right, no wobbling. Alright, shoulder check. Check my mirrors as well. And pull away slowly. Last thing you want to do with a pillion on board is yank your throttle open and pull away like you're trying to pop a wheelie. You also don't want to brake harshly, so try to feather your braking and be conscious of your riding. Be considerate to your pillion. If your riding style usually leads to heavy braking, particularly grabbing of the front brake, then you want to consider whether or not your pillion is going to be comfortable on the back. Because if I pull in my front brake, even at this slow speed, particularly going downhill, she's going to lurch forward, she's going to go into the back of me, and my gonads are going to go into the tank. So what I do is I use my rear brake a lot more when I've got a pillion on the back. That stops the lunging motion of the bike, and it makes an all-round much more comfortable ride for you and your pillion. Leaning. When you've got a pillion on the back, you don't want to be leaning too much, especially with an experienced pillion, which Amanda is. She's a very good pillion. She's probably, in fact no, she's definitely the best pillion passenger I've ever taken on the back of any bike with me. So credit to her, she knows what to do. But even her, if I go too fast on a motorway, or if I, hang on a minute, if I hit an angle too tight, I hit a corner too tight and I've got to lean the bike right over, or if I'm just playing about and I'm not being considerate of her, which I would never do, but hey, as she leans over with the bike, the natural human reaction is going to be for her to try to counter that lean. It's not natural for a human to be riding along or to be in motion sideways. Okay, so the natural reaction there is going to be that she will try to counter that and she will stand upright. Now, if I do anything that makes my pillion want to stand upright, no matter how good she is, that's going to cause problems for me, because as we all know, counter steering is the only way to safely and correctly maneuver a motorcycle. Alright, read the road ahead. Look out for debris on the road. Saw that a mile away. Okay, so if I lean the bike, she's going to be leaning as well, and you need to be conscious of this, that having a pillion on the back means that she's doing what you're doing. Also remember that if you want to show off to someone, you want to show them how fast your bike can go, the best and safest way to do that is by showing them a video, or with them standing on the side watching as you go around the track, because no pillion wants to sit on the back of a bike with them being pulled off by the forces of gravity, or feeling like they're going to be dropped on their side or like they're about to crash. So when you take a pillion out, remember that. Be conscious of how you're riding, be conscious that your pillion is there, and communicate with them. Before you head off, make sure they know what they're supposed to be doing. Okay, for pillions, I want to throw something in there for pillions now. Motorcycles naturally lean left and right when the bike is turning. Don't try to counteract that. Okay, try and stay straight, keep your body straight with the riders, go with the bike. If the bike leans right, just go with it. Don't try to overcompensate by sitting up the opposite way, or don't try to help the bike turn by leaning your whole body over, because either way you're going to end up causing the rider to crash, and that's no fun for either of you. Riders, make sure that before you set off, your pillion knows what their role is. When you're two up, it's called two up for a reason. Okay, it's because both of you have an input in the movement and control of the bike, and in the ride itself. Remember, it's got to be fun for both of you. You've both got to enjoy it. Alright, when you stop your bike, the same thing applies. Remember that now that you've been riding around for a while, the exhaust is going to be hot. So if you've got a massive exhaust on this side like I have, you don't want your pillion jumping off on that side and burning themselves. So make sure that you talk to them and tell them, jump off on this side. Okay, same thing again. Stop the bike in neutral with both your feet flat on the ground. Okay, put the brakes on so it's not going to move or roll away from you, and tip the bike over slightly to accommodate them dismounting the bike. Okay, they may be a little bit wobbly. Remember that they've got to swing their leg over that bit. If you look at the difference in seat height, there's about 2 mil difference there, probably an extra millimetre at the back. Right, that doesn't sound much, but think of it this way: the difference between a 30 mil leg and a 32 mil leg is the difference in height between me and Amanda, or you and your wife, or you and your pillion. So from me and from Mrs Peachy, thank you very much for watching. Ride safe, and I'll see you next time.